Hi, this is Lily Cotilla, and I guess welcome to life. I did the CPR AED course for healthcare professionals the other week, and from a non-MD perspective, I feel like there could be some adjustments made that would improve the viability of an intact neurological system and functioning brain. And also from an infant, 1-year-old and under perspective, I think there are some changes that can be made that can increase probability of sustaining life. So, from the CPR perspective, the longer one is either under AED machine or being given compressions without, the brain slowly decreases in oxygen. Even if the provider is administering CPR properly, along with the carbon dioxide exhalation, the individual whose heart is not pumping is receiving 17% oxygen level circulating throughout body in comparison to the 21% oxygen level, which is standard because that's what it is at the atmospheric level. I believe 21, 78, 98, 99, and 1% nitrogen, the 78 being carbon dioxide, if I remember accurately. In any case, so oxygen is decreased to the brain. We know that the longest survivor who has been under cardiac arrest and who has been resuscitated with intact brain functioning has been under for over a fathom, 6 hours in time. And the reason being is, this is probably no new news to you, is that it was due to his state being that of hypothermia. And while hypothermia has other adverse effects on various other organs, it dramatically increases preservation of the brain. Now, I've heard that, once a person gets to a hospital, or I don't know about even in an ambulance, but there are ways to decrease temperature of the brain and in order to increase the probability and likelihood of brain functioning retention. That stated, why do we not have something along the lines of a swimming cap, but double layered with the material of, it's not liquid nitrogen, but whatever is in those cold packs that you pop, and then once they're popped, the chemical reaction causes them to become ice cold. And I know that this temperature lasts 3 to 4 hours. So if one were made in the shape of a swimming cap that was utilized as a primary step in the CPR process before even beginning CPR, I believe that the person's neurological functioning, along with stroke victims, would increase exponentially and not have to go through various rehabs to possibly regain it back. So why does this not exist in all the facilities in which AED machines are required, which are basically every public setting? Another addition I would make to CPR is that I know that when you're at a standstill, your blood takes more energy from your body to circulate around due to gravity's forces than if you're doing even the subtlest movement, because the subtlest movement helps with the flow of the circulatory system. In your veins, you have valves which flip upward and act as little pooling chambers such that the deoxygenated blood flow does not fall backward, because that wouldn't be very advantageous for survival. So now that said, if you are steady and in place, and it is that much harder on the heart and the circulatory system to get that oxygenated blood and the hemoglobin around such that your entire cells get as much as possible, then if on scene there were more than two individuals doing CPR, because usually the third is considered the bystander and may step in to take over compressions if the provider is fatigued, why wouldn't that third person be very subtly cycling the legs while the recipient is in horizontal position and being given CPR? I'm talking subtly, not in a way to interfere with compressions or breaths, but the slightest movement of the legs will help to circulate the oxygenated blood at a 17% level being given by the resuscitator. And it will keep more oxygen steadily flowing to the brain. Now, moving on to the infant, 1 year old and younger, the rules have changed since I last took my CPR course. So if the infant is not breathing, or heart not starting, choking, whatnot, and you listen, you look, you feel, and it's 5 thrusts with them on your forearm, and then you flip them over, and 5 thrusts to the back in between the scapula area, and then you flip them over, and it's 5 thrusts with 2 fingers right around, I can't remember what that area is called, but underneath your rib cage, that tender portion around your duodenum area, but where your intercostals meet and your last rib does not join it. 5 there, flip them over, 5 taps, hits with palm in between scapulas. In any case, the way it's demonstrated currently is having that infant at a 90-degree angle on your forearm. Now, this puts the trachea to epiglottal opening at a 90-degree angle. Why would not it be taught to angle the child down at a 45 and still on your forearm, but balance him or her on your thigh? Because then the trajectory of the trachea and the epiglottal opening is in a straight line, and in my opinion, the likelihood of the projection of the stuck whatever is much more likely than if it's at a bent 90-degree angle. So it just blows my mind. But I'm an MD, so I'm just saying it's my non-internet diagnosis. Anyway, one last thing is that parents aren't often taught to teach a child how to communicate that he or she is choking. And so if he's choking and doesn't know how to communicate it, he just kind of hangs out and looks around, and the parent has to tune in that something isn't right and something's going on, and then ask the question and hear no response because he can't respond because there's something lodged in the throat. But remember to teach your very young child the symbol for choking, which is the hands crossed over the neck, like the skull symbol. Okay, so take it or leave it. Makes no difference to me. Just something to circulate on.